Hi everyone, it's mystery author Ellie Alexander, and I am so excited to reveal what's going to happen next in our story collaboration. A couple things. First of all, I have been blown away by your ideas, your insights, the conversations you're having together, and it just makes my heart so happy because I know that I need a positive distraction right now. So be sure to spread the word. If you have other friends or family who you think might enjoy our story collaboration, share far and wide because I am all about finding ways to spread joy right now. Okay, also a quick recap. If you're not familiar with what we're doing, I am sharing today part 2 of A Brunch with Death, a title chosen by all of you, which I am totally in love with. And if you missed it, my husband created a cover to go with our story collaboration. And I've been sharing story prompts on my social media, and every week you are deciding what's going to happen next. I write pages and then I throw it back to you, and we're building as we go. It's quite an adventure. I don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what's gonna happen, and that's all of the fun. All right, so without further ado, let's get to part 2 of A Brunch with Death. Dun, dun, dun. Richard held up a chubby finger. Hold on, I think we need some nourishment for this conversation. He punched a button on his desk phone. Get me the kitchen, now. Nice way to address your staff, I thought to myself. Pierre, it's Lord. Bring me a platter of those rolls you made and a pot of coffee. Hot. Burning hot. He hung up and stared at me. What's new at the theater? Where to start? We're wrapping up productions at the Lizzie. We closed the Green Show last week, and I'm deep in the creative process for next season. I hoped that Richard would pick up on the fact that I didn't have time to chat. Good thing you've got going on up there at the theater. Richard unbuttoned the top of his pants and sat up in his chair. What did he want, and why wouldn't he just get to the point? After a few minutes of awkward small talk, a knock sounded on the door. Mr. Lord, I have your food order. Come in, he bellowed. A chef in his early 40s entered the room holding a silver tray. He was dressed in a traditional chef's uniform with a white coat and puffy white hat. Pierre, that took a long time. Richard pointed to the edge of his messy desk. Set it right there. Pierre did as he was told, setting the tray with a silver carafe of coffee and a platter of pastries on the desk. Lance, have you met Pierre? I don't think I've had the pleasure. I rose to shake his hand. Pierre's hand was clammy with sweat. Pierre's a French chef, Richard boasted. He flew in from Paris last week to take the job, sight unseen. Pretty impressive, huh? Charming. I reached for a paper napkin to wipe my palm. Pierre didn't speak as he poured us each a cup of coffee. He looked like he wanted out of the stuffy office even more than I did. As he backed toward the door, Richard stopped him. Send in Tony, and don't forget I want salmon on the menu tonight. Pierre gave him a bow without saying a word and made his escape. Roll? Richard helped himself to 3 sticky buns. No, thank you. I'm watching my figure. I pointed to my narrow waist. Richard stuffed half of one of the caramel rolls into his mouth. So, let's talk business. Please. I waited for him to continue. I have a proposition that's going to make you some hard cash, which I know the theater needs, he said through a mouthful of roll. I'm tired of everyone in town going gaga for Tort's Sunday suppers. I don't know what the big deal is. A supper sounds like something your grandma would invite you to. I took a drink of my coffee, not wanting to have to fake a response. Tort's Sunday suppers were the stuff of magic. They weren't simply a dinner. They were an experience, complete with decor, lighting, and exquisite artisan food. Richard chomped with his mouth open. Anyway, I've got a much better idea that's going to leave Juliet and Helen quaking. Are you ready for this? Oh, I was born ready. Richard obviously didn't pick up on the sarcasm in my tone. Good. I knew you were a smart man. He gulped down some coffee before continuing. Here's my idea. We host a brunch fete here at the Merry Windsor. I'm pulling out all the stops for this one. I want costumes. I want your actors. I want a stage, lighting, music, the works. This is going to be the talk of the town. We'll host it in my ballroom, and Pierre will create a brunch so tasty that it might just put Tort out of business. I highly doubted that, but I kept my face as passive as possible as Richard continued. This'll be lucrative for you, Lance. There's a big fat check involved. I'll pay top dollar for you to stage this production. I shifted in the uncomfortable chair, careful not to spill the coffee on my slacks. I don't know, Richard. We have so much going on. I don't know that I'll have time to pull off what you're asking. He curled his lips. Then he opened his top desk drawer and took out a yellow legal pad. He wrote something on the pad, tore off the sheet, and handed it to me. Take a look at that number and then tell me you don't have the time. I glanced at the paper. The number Richard had written down was big, as in 6 figures big. I couldn't turn down that kind of cash, but I also couldn't help wonder if there was a catch. Richard gave me a satisfied smile. So, you interested, Lance? I bought myself a moment to respond by taking a long sip of the coffee. Shockingly, it was decent. Not tort quality, mind you, but better than anything I've ever had at the Merry Windsor. I need details. For starters, when? And did you have a specific production in mind? He took a huge bite of roll. Next weekend. We have a packed house for the closing of the Elizabethan, and I want to leave a lasting impression on our guests. Richard, a week? You can do it. I'm not worried about that, but I do have one special request. Ah, there it is, I thought to myself. I knew that Richard's offer was too good to be true. My girlfriend, Tony, needs a starring role. Girlfriend? I nearly spit out my coffee. Richard Lord had a girlfriend? I didn't know you were betrothed, Richard. Yeah, we've been dating long distance for a few years. She's a great actress. She's been on the stage in Reno, big shows, sold out houses, huge talent. Reno, I could only imagine. This will be a big break for her. You're going to be blown away by her talent, Richard continued. Okay, I'm not sure how that will work in terms of the rest of the company, but I can certainly put some thought into that. The most important question is, what show are you wanting to put on? Richard smiled. You're going to love this, Lance. Before he could respond, another knock sounded at the door, and his girlfriend, Tony, stormed in. Her long, brittle, bleached hair flew behind her as she slammed the door. She wore a leopard print, low-cut shirt that left nothing to the imagination, and skin-tight leather pants. Richard, you are in so much trouble! Her piercing scream made me press my index finger into my ear to block the screeching. I am so mad at you! I can't believe you did that! Wow, what did she do? Okay, here's your assignment. This week you have 2 things to decide. The number one thing is, what production does Richard want Lance to host at the Merry Windsor? Then question 2 is, why is Tony, Richard Lord's girlfriend? What? Richard Lord has a girlfriend? Richard Lord's girlfriend, Tony, why is she mad at him? What has he done? That's what you are going to decide. As before, you can comment here, you can comment on any of my social media pages, or you can comment on my blog where I will be sharing this written version of part 2 as well. I am so excited, and I'm literally going to be waking up each morning with eager anticipation to see what you come up with, because thus far you have blown my imagination out to the sky. I don't even know. And like I said before, be sure to share this with friends and family, anyone else who you think might have some fun and have a little bit of a brain break while we're all going through this collective experience. You have until Sunday evening, so get your thinking caps on, start building that creative energy, because I can't wait to see what all you think might happen in terms of Tony and what production Richard could possibly want Lance to stage at the Merry Windsor. You have until Sunday evening, and then on Monday, like this past week, I will be sharing my 5 favorites, and then we'll put it back out to a vote, and we'll keep this process rolling. Thank you so much for joining me, and wishing you happy reading this weekend.